I'm gonna see if it quick pick up right here. I'm looking at it right here. Yeah, it's on there. So we want to welcome everybody to another episode of the Black Market Podcast. We got a few technical difficulties, but we are back now. Let me see.
What'd you say? We live, baby.
We live, man. We are live. So this is episode 1 of season 2. We have made it to season 2.
Another year.
2022 is here upon us. So we want to welcome everybody to the first episode of season 2. I am one of your co-hosts, HC, also known as the Market Oracle, and this is the Black Market Podcast presented by Hack Markets.
Y'all already know who I am, the Market Prodigy, not to be confused with the Market Oracle.
Nah, not confused.
What's going on, everybody? 4K Ken checking in. Hope everybody had a good end of the year, good start to the new year.
Man, it was a rocky end, a rocky beginning. I mean, Omicron has wrecked the party for a lot of people, man. Myself included. I mean, it got the best of me. Hey, AC, you remember what, like 2 weeks ago, I was joking around saying I wasn't feeling well, and I said, hey, you know, I'm laughing. It better not be Omicron.
Exactly.
2 days later, I get confirmation that it's Omicron. I got COVID.
Omicron, a.k.a. Omarion.
Man, that Omarion.
Hey, I'm out here dancing.
Goodness gracious. I mean, with me and 4K, we was just talking about it. Like, this thing is like, it's being spread, not like the flu, but it's being spread like a common cold. It's that contagious right now.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm starting to see it. It's affecting everything right now. It's just, you see sports, you see the education. I mean, I don't even have to look any further than outside of my driveway right now. My trash has been out there since last Wednesday. They just came by today to get the trash, and they didn't even get like the yard bags or whatever. And they've been late because of personnel issues, because of Omicron. Like, we're seeing it rear its ugly head in every single sector and industry right now. And I'm wondering, are we on the brink of another shutdown with all these cases rising?
We didn't even see this type of pickup in the first few times that it was happening. So it's got to happen at some point to contain this thing.
The only thing that I'm skeptical.
What they're saying is, I think they're saying that it's not as bad though.
Yeah.
It's not like it's dead.
That's what I was gonna say, is that you had the original COVID-19, and then you had the Delta variant, and then you had Omicron. I think that Omicron is definitely more contagious, but it doesn't seem as severe as the other two strands.
Yeah.
I think they said it was like, what, 25 to 50% more contagious or something. I think that was some numbers that I saw.
And that,
Look, we got to stop making jokes about these things. Every time we make a joke about it, it wants to remind us that it's real. So,
man, I'm not gonna say I won't make jokes.
I'm still doing my dance.
Hey, I was coughing and still making jokes, man. You know, that's just me. I can't help it. It was still messed up though.
That's good to hear that you recovered all the way though.
Oh yeah. But then, like, just looking at the market, I'm seeing stuff, and it's like, that market, I mean, did you see it open up this morning? I mean, it fooled me for a second, because it came out the gates just straight green in the first 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden it tanked out. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I saw the same thing. A couple of my pads, well, not pads, but a couple of the stocks that I was trading, they went up. And then, like you said, they kind of had that pullback. But I kind of thought that I would see that pullback just because, especially the stock that I'm in. Just because, like, when you see that initial pre-market move to the upside, I mean, you automatically know that this thing is coming back down.
Right.
Yeah, it's hovering. I mean, I read an article today talking about where the market is, and especially like the NASDAQ and the S&P, how it's set. Like 21 new highs or whatever, and and just the new levels that it's setting and how it continues to rise. I feel like, we had, I don't know if we want to say if it was technically a pullback or a correction, but we've made that ground up instantly, but people still don't know what to expect because, of course, we've heard Jerome Powell come in and talk about tapering and inflation and things like that. And, some people are taking that negatively, but some people, it may not be scaring them off as much right now. I mean, I think everybody is more on pins and needles about the uncertainty of Omicron and a potential shutdown. That's, I think, what's going to affect the market within the next 4 weeks or so.
We've kind of dropped that narrative for supply chain having that big of an effect. Now Omicron's kind of taken over as priority number one. So,
and see, to piggyback off what you were just saying, Jerome, like that they're about to start raising the rates. They're thinking that it's going to be within the next 2 months now.
Yeah.
So that's also making the stock market have just a little bit of reluctancy because it's kind of like the rates are going up. Now it is good for finances, it's good for utilities and things of that nature, and everything that's like tied to the economy. Anything that's tied to the economy, yeah, that's a good thing to be seeing happen. But what happens is now you're seeing everything else, the growth stocks, they're starting to come down, and a lot of tech is growth. So that's why we're seeing, like just the major things kind of like teeter just a tad. And I mean, it's gonna do that just because big tech is like the heaviest weighted things in these indexes.
And that makes sense on what we're seeing. Like, the NASDAQ is taking a much more of a hit because it is more tech heavy than say the S&P and the Russell and the Dow Jones. So I mean, they've been taking some really heavy hits lately, and I'm wondering is that going to continue? I mean, I was looking at a couple of charts like right before the market ended today, and it's like it's hard to tell because on certain charts, usually I look at the daily or the 4-hour chart. I was like, well, okay, looking at the 5-minute chart, the 10-day chart, I'm looking at, I'm like, okay, it's not looking good. It's like it's about to come down. Then I go and look at the 4-hour chart at the NASDAQ, and I'm like, no, this thing is about to surge up. And then you also have to be in the moment too and think about Omicron, and it's just like, oh man, like, are we still in a bull market? Are we getting ready for a pullback? Are we moving sideways? But because you want to know which way the overall market is because it can affect your positions and where you choose to put your money in which sector. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
It's interesting how to have so many different things playing a role in how the market is going to. You kind of have to assess it with all of those factors. But, at one point you could just kind of do it based off of news popularity and all that. Now we've got so many different other areas that are impacting. So.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing.
To be honest, it's always been like that. The reason why a lot of people got caught up and didn't really understand the market, and we called this, and that's why we were getting our people prepared in 2021. At the beginning of 2021, we were telling people, look, 2020 is one of those years that it's a anomaly. It's one of those black swan events. You don't see this all the time. Market is not going to react like this all the time. But what we saw is from March until the end. Because, see, like, what happens is usually around May till November. No, I'm sorry, till October. From about May to October, you get, like, this slowdown period in the market. And from November to April is when you have, like, that real fast-paced pickup. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people didn't experience that in 2020. It was a lot of people coming online trying to trade. It was a lot of people that had a lot of time on their hand, a lot of money, extra money, and all this stuff. And so this is their first interaction with the stock market. They don't know anything about it. And you're getting guys coming on here that they don't know how to trade either, but they got a lot of money. They got a following. They're influencers. They're getting on the internet and they're saying, hey, we're gonna buy this, whatever. They get on there, they buy it, and then everything's going up. And so they have this false notion that everything goes up. Like you can buy anything,
Boy,
and it just goes up.
That's almost like the worst thing can happen. It's like in basketball when you get somebody who can't shoot or whatever, and they first shot. Yeah, I go back to Josh Smith. You know, that's the worst thing. If this guy make a 3-pointer in the first quarter, he about to throw up by 4 or 5. The next 4 shots gonna be heat checks. Yeah. You know that's the worst thing.
It could be an old wide open lane. He throwing up threes.
Same thing in the stock market. You know they catch an option contract or whatever, get 10 contracts, 20 contracts, run up by 2K in a day or whatever. Like, oh, I already know it. I know the secret of the stock market. No, you don't. You're gonna blow it. You better slow your roll.
Exactly. And that's really what happens.
It's all again.
And it's a dangerous game. For some people, it really is a roll of the dice, but there is skill behind it, and there's a reason why you've got some people who are that's their profession. They're day traders. They understand this stuff. You can make a living off of it, but you have to live by a very strict set of rules. Oh yeah.
People are making a killing, man. Like people don't have to get up and work. Like I was reading an article the other day. Like so. With social, I think it's like the Social Security or something like that. I can't remember. I think it may be the Social Security credit or something. But basically, what it is like once you pay the tax of, I think it's tax, not credit. I think it's like once you pay the tax up to like $150-something thousand, then you're done. You don't have to pay anymore, like into that Social Security anymore. Wow. Well, a lot of these guys are hitting that $156,000 on January 1. And for the rest of the year, they don't have to worry about that.
Sweet, that's insane.
So, I mean, and you know they're not doing it. The only people that's probably hitting that outside of finance is going to be entertainers and people like that. But they're not getting their lump sum at the beginning of the year like that either type stuff. Like these guys, they have stuff they can just close out. Boom. They close out their trade that they rolled over from last year. They close out on the first. Boom. They get all this stuff. Everything's exercised. All the taxes are paid. And now for the rest of the year, I do whatever I want to do. Now, that's not your income taxes, but for that particular tax. Mm-hmm. It's like, these guys are hitting that so fast. And then because of that, though, that's why we see so much stuff talking about how Social Security is going to run out and all this stuff before this. It's because the rich people aren't paying them but no more than $156,000 into it.
Pocket.
Like, if you really made the rich people pay the proportion like how everybody else pays, we wouldn't have to worry about any of that stuff running dry.
Yeah.
And then the tax system is ridiculous. Like, if we just taxed everybody 10%, just everybody a straight 10% tax. It doesn't matter how much money you make, just 10%. The ultra rich, they would, of course, it's only 10%, so they're not going to be out here crying too much. Because you get to keep 90% of your money. We're not trying to hit you for 40 and 45% and all this stuff, like crazy numbers. 10% cut. We don't have any of these deductions. You're only paying 10% now. No deductions, 10%. Everybody's paying 10%. The whole population. Anybody that has income. That right there solves tax problems.
Tribute a little better instead of it being so one-sided.
It's so many things because you got to understand that because you introduced write-offs, the ultra rich are going to use those. They're going to use those loopholes, this, that, and the other, and they're going to come out paying nothing in taxes. People that can't do that or don't tax plan or don't do any of this stuff, they're screwed. They're going to be sitting there paying their old taxes. And you don't make nowhere near as much as these guys.
Right.
These guys can make what you make in a second.
Not me. I'm rich because God made me rich.
I feel it. Not you, man.
I'm close. I can smell it.
But for the rest of us out here, man, you know what I'm saying?
Smell it.
Hey, but But talking about, I mean, this is the perfect time to be talking about this stuff too, because I mean, it's the beginning of the year, 2022. This is the third day of the year. You might as well start tax planning now. Be proactive. Tax plan now, people. You know what you're gonna make, almost. Go ahead and do some rough averages. You know what your job is gonna give you. They're not in the business of giving you more than what you should get. I mean, so you know that that's pretty much extend. So unless you got like some side hustles and stuff like that, then you know pretty much you got a rough estimate. Go ahead and tax plan. Go ahead and figure out how many deductions you can get out. Plan your donations. Plan all this stuff, and then go to it. That's all you got to do. That's how you plan your taxes so that you don't get screwed and you're like, oh man, now I owe $3,000. What did I do? Or you're waiting on the refund or however it goes. Like if you just do it the correct way at the beginning, you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah. That's what's interesting. People start to have the same idea for how to trade this year as they did last year. I mean, now is a perfect opportunity to reestablish.
Yes, exactly. It's always you always have to reestablish and rebalance, because if you don't, you'll be screwed.
Yeah. You're
gonna end up in something that you thought was a good play and it isn't anymore. Things change.
So for our
success is not a continuum.
For our viewers out there who are wondering right now, if I do decide to stick with the stock market, where should we be directing them to spend their money in the stock market? Is there a safe place right now? Are there some stocks in like a niche or something for this particular market at this time that we can say, hey?
I'm always weary to say safe.
Yeah, I mean,
because, I mean, safe and risk they don't go hand in hand.
Well,
and like equities is nothing but risk. But
high probability.
I'll say that, yeah. So high probability, because we have kind of like what we just discussed earlier, because we have like the rates going up higher and all that stuff. I personally will be looking at, inside of the stock market, I will be looking at financials. I will be looking at utilities, anything like that that's tied to the economy, because we know that the economy is growing. They're saying that it's going at a speed that's like haven't been seen in like 40 years. It's like the fastest growth they've seen in 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, we're going to have a couple of interest rate hikes. So I'll be looking into that stuff. And I would also look outside of the stock market to go inside of the U.S. dollar, because that's going to start appreciating, because we got Europe that's not looking to do anything with their rates until at least 2024. So that right there already gives you a two-year advantage. We're going to be hiking, and they're going to be, I think they're in negative right now. They're either zero or negative. Mm-hmm. So they still, if they're in negative, they still have to get to zero. Then they can start going higher. So they're going to definitely be behind the U.S. So I would be putting my money on that.
I like those sectors, but adding energy in there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed, and it's funny because, we talked about growth stocks being hit the hardest right now since the market's kind of in flux right now. Something I noticed really beginning on Friday, and it continued today. It was setting up on Friday and it really started to take off today, was some of the electric car, the EV makers. And it's because with the new year, that means that they're just now getting their year-end numbers in, and people are reacting off of those sales. And in particular, they're talking about like your NIO, your Lee, and your XPEV. Those numbers just came in, and we saw a spike in those stocks, especially pre-market. Lee went up pre-market, came back down, but NIO is still surging. I know XPEV is, and those are like your Chinese EVs, and then I think also Tesla was making a run as well, but people are just reacting off of those year-end numbers. Like you said, sometimes it's more than just the overall market. It could be some kind of news catalyst like this where they can still thrive, even though they are growth type stocks.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Because I like one thing. I do have to say this because I've been talking about this since last year. So we are finally about to get the opportunity to be able to buy into this company. Night Scope. You all know I've been talking about Night Scope for a minute, and they got the what do they have? They have the robots. They basically RoboCops.
These ain't the iRobots that be in your house, are they?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't want it.
Hey, so
I don't want it.
I don't know about y'all, but I will be purchasing some shares of it because I'm telling you, that thing finna move. We might not like the robots coming, but they still coming.
It's like the Metaverse. I don't agree with it, and I don't want nothing to do with it. But I may purchase me some real estate in the Metaverse to make some money.
I'm telling you, man, hey, come to my mansion in the Metaverse.
I mean, I sat there and just looked at it on YouTube for like 30 minutes, and I was just like, this guy was like looking for property, like he was looking for property like here. He was looking for stuff near entertainment venues and lakefront and like all this other stuff. And I'm like, he's looking at like it's real time and like telling you the different prices and the different lots and stuff. It was crazy.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
From an entertainment standpoint, they even have. I mean, there's concerts that I've seen, and there's going to the mall and buying clothes. You can buy all of that, so people.
So let me ask you this: going in there and buying clothes, like, is this like physical clothes or is this Metaverse clothes?
Metaverse clothes, like.
Why do I care about Metaverse?
Right. So I gotta. So wait. So if I want to change my outfit in the Metaverse, I have to buy the clothes.
Yeah.
So if I don't have.
Oh my God.
Is there a starter pack that gets you with, and you just get a basic jean?
Hey, I'm gonna be in that bad boy basic.
Yeah, but hey, I'm bringing back them white tees.
It's 63. I buy you some VC. That's why I mean this whole thing is just crazy in how the bounds that it can go to.
Yeah,
I just see
I
this.
really just want to use it for like business purposes. I just want to run seminars and then also be able to, kind of like connect with our people. That's internal. Inside the company as well as our clients. That's what I would want to use it for. But,
It
I know a lot of people.
Other than that, I don't know why we're like purchasing, your designer shirt that's going to be in the Metaverse.
Exactly.
And, that kind of thing.
At least you don't have to worry about washing all that stuff, man. It's going to always be there, too.
No, they gonna have a laundromat in there. They gonna have a laundromat in there, man. This is like a.
Hey man, can they steal your stuff in the Metaverse?
I'm
That's what I'm saying.
sure they can.
You have a locker, like
they gonna run up.
I mean, can you imagine calling 911 and be like, "I've been robbed in the Metaverse. My house in the Metaverse has been robbed."
Hey, so what happened? Do you go to jail in the Metaverse? Like you gonna sit out here and you gonna rob everybody? Now you in jail? Like what happened?
Hey, it'll feel like jail if they don't allow you to log in.
Ooh, hey, I'm not gonna log in anyway.
They keep you in because they can't keep you in to take your helmet off. That's all.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Oh, you caught me, didn't you? Boom! I took off my helmet. Now guess what? You didn't get me.
That bad boy just lock. You can't take it off.
That's crazy though. Nah, that's some very interesting stuff. I will say that though. Like I'm very intrigued to see what the Metaverse brings, because I'm pretty sure like they already have it to the point where like it's not the Metaverse, but like NBA TV already has it to the point where they have the app where you can sit there courtside and watch games and stuff with the Quest. So I'm pretty sure they're probably gonna just incorporate a lot more stuff like that.
Yeah, I just saw H&M now has a Metaverse store that lets you buy clothes.
I mean, but what am I gonna do with the H&M digital clothes? That's what I want to know. Like, and then I'm pretty sure it's run off NFTs or something like that, right?
I guess that's what's.
It got to be run off NFTs or something. So yeah, that's definitely gonna be something that I need to look into. Now, I'm not a huge advocate of NFTs. I'm not gonna be like that's the end all be all. It seems like it's a little new. A lot of people just flock into it because it's just the next big thing, the next new thing. So a lot of people just want to be in first, on the ground level. That's how I feel. But a lot of the stuff, I'm just trying to understand, like, what's the actual application of these things? Like, what am I going to do with a blinking giraffe or something? Like, what is that?
I don't care. All I care is how can I make money off
That's
of it?
all I'm in
It
it
sounds
for.
terrible, but that's all I'm in it for.
That's all I'm in it for too. I'm just trying to understand like the best way to make the money though. I don't want to get in there and just think you found something and now you screwed.
And definitely, I mean, there's popularity behind Adidas, Zara, Nike. They all have now
Like
stores in the meta.
right now, I just want to see what stocks should I invest in to get in early because they're going to be affected. Their price is going to be affected by the metaverse and people just getting more aware with it. I mean,
So they're saying that it has to. You purchase it through it's called CEEK currency is how you actually make the purchase from H&M to Metaverse. So I mean that may be another pair of currency to look into for the viewers too.
And Decentraland, I know that's something that's pretty big in the metaverse. So I mean, that's the cryptocurrencies that you can mess with. But still, like, I can't sit here and just advise anybody to just go out here and put the house on NFTs and all that stuff. That's just something I'll never do. Because I mean, you gotta understand
It's
the
a house
first
for your
to get that type of advice.
you can't do it because you lack vision.
I get it.
You didn't have the right Oculus goggles.
I guess so, man. Because man, I can't do it. I cannot. But we ain't got to that point in time now, man. We got to do some picks now. What y'all got some picks that y'all want to share with the people?
Oh my goodness, I got a pick. I have a pick. I have a. Whew! I put it in Telegram last week, and I'm still super bullish on it. I've got something that I picked up. I got a scanner I created called clearance sale, where I can buy stocks on clearance. There is a stock called BBIO. Oh my goodness. This thing, it was Friday, it was like at 14. Today it went up to $16. I mean, this thing, I want to say a week ago, fell from the sky from like $49 down to like $12. It didn't sell off. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we're talking about a super gap fill that's going on. It's very volatile, and I mean, it's moving. It's moving.
Okay.
That's the one I'm looking at. I mean, you can't.